trash pile. That's trash anyway. Trash. Rings trash. Trash pile, trash pile. Trash, trash, and trash. So the engine, pretty much done. So next up, we're gonna rebuild the S&S Carb. It's S&S Super E. Came on the bike. Don't know the last time it was rebuilt, if it's ever been rebuilt. I went ahead and bought a Master Rebuild Kit. Came with new gasket, new butterfly valve, shit like that. And I also bought a whole new jet kit because I don't know what jets are in here. Carbs are pretty straightforward. They're all pretty similar to an extent. Watched a couple videos to get an idea of what to expect, and it seems, again, pretty straightforward with how the CV carbs work. But we're gonna go ahead and pan down, start getting this thing torn apart. All right, so I got a towel laid out just so I don't lose anything. All right. As you can see, S&S Super E. All right, so new gasket, O-ring, whole new butterfly valve setup, which I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna do or not. All right, so that's a spring, new diaphragm, O-ring, spring. So here's the main jet, just popped out, and this is a .068 main jet. Got a replacement, so that's going away. Everything that's getting discarded or replaced is going over here, and everything that I'm keeping, I'm putting over here. Or everything that's been taken off that I'm keeping, I should say. So all 4 float bowl bolts are getting replaced. Trash pile, pop this off. Like so. Well, that just came falling on out of there. That's trash anyway. Gasket, trash. Alright, so here's the float. We're going to go ahead and pop this screw out that holds it in place. For wear, but it's not doing anything wrong. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop this fuel inlet off as well. And that is where the actual float needle sits in. And then the new one that has the O-ring on it is going to go on. So that's all good. And before we put the float back on, new needles going on. This drain plug back in, the new O-ring. Alright, so we're going to flip this over, take this out. Now when this comes off, there's a couple little parts that may come out. Just got to keep an eye on those. Oh god. These are the little parts I'm talking about. There's 2 balls, a spring, and a couple O-rings in here. Oh man, this thing needs cleaned. So there's the 2 balls. There's O-ring 1, little spring, O-ring number 2. The kit has a little bag with every part that goes in here. But first I'm gonna clean this out really well because this thing is fucking gross. This diaphragm here with the spring, trash and trash. Okay, now when you flip this over, there's a triangular hole, triangular hole, circular hole. The triangular hole is where the spring goes. Both of them get the balls in it. So this one's gonna go in here, just like that. Ball on top of the spring. And these O-rings are the same size. So there's one there, one there. Diaphragm, spring, and diaphragm. But you gotta have this lined up, flip it over, and you just wanna make sure you don't pinch anything. Alright, so now is the secondary jet or pilot jet. Get this bitch off. This is on the main bowl here, or the main body. So there's that, and this is a 0.028 jet. So I just saw this came with a new bar for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop this back out. Alright, so I got both new jets in place. Put this gasket on here. Enrichers going back in. This is the new one. That'll of course have to be tuned later. So I didn't end up replacing the butterfly valve. Just didn't think it was necessary. The springs on here have a lot of good tension, and the butterfly valve's in good enough shape. I don't see any need to replace that. This thing's gonna get put back on here very soon. Alright, so that's going to do it for the S&S Super E Master Rebuild. Super straightforward, nothing to it. It helps if you do like I did, just sort of have everything in two separate piles, what you're replacing, what you're keeping, what you're tossing. It makes it a whole lot easier, you don't get parts confused. Mostly just springs and needles and bolts and screws. Too easy. Okay, so it's been a couple days. I was looking over the footage and I realized an O-ring fell out that I forgot to replace. So this is the bowl. This little blue O-ring fell out when I took the bowl off the first time. So this is the new O-ring. So this is all going to go back together now the correct way. And I forgot to put Loctite on any of the bolts. So I'm going to do that real quick too.